Welcome to What About PS, a Poland Syndrome podcast, where we talk about all things Poland Syndrome. The episodes that you can look forward to in this podcast speak about the male and female experience, motherhood and breastfeeding, general day-to-day living, health and fitness, and also including hand and chest affected people who have Poland Syndrome. If you have Poland Syndrome, or if you know of someone who has Poland Syndrome, then be sure to have a look out and listen to our latest episodes. Thank you guys for listening to our latest episode. We are here with Paul today, and we're going to be talking a little bit about his involvement in PIP. We are going to be talking about our latest event that's coming up, the PIP Fest, which is really, really exciting. And then also the future of PIP and what people can be looking forward to in terms of our initiatives and how we really are trying to make a difference in the Poland Syndrome community. So, Paul, thank you so much for joining us today. I'm really excited to chat to you.
Thank you for inviting me along. It's really nice to be part of this podcast, and I'll just you tell me which direction you want me to go in there.
Yeah, perfect. So, firstly, I want to find out a little bit about who Paul is, how you kind of got involved in PIP and in kind of the Poland Syndrome community, because that is something that I don't know personally, and I'm really interested in finding that out. So who is Paul?
So Paul, 19 months ago, did not know anything about PIP, Poland Syndrome, or the community of where we are now, until my beautiful little boy William was born, and he was born left side affected. But we didn't know at the time in the hospital because they didn't know what it was, and they didn't. So we went through a couple of weeks to a month, and me and my wife especially was Googling this, that, and the other, and we found that it could be Poland Syndrome. So when we went to the appointment with the doctor to see the doctor, my wife noticed that he had Google on in the background saying Poland Syndrome. So even the doctor was Googling what it was. So that was amazing to me. So when that happened, I got in touch because I thought I need to know more. We need to be able to benefit my son and find out what's going on and what the impact is on himself in the future. So I just sent an email out to this charity called PIP-UK, Poland Syndrome, not expecting a response back or anything like that, because I thought these people are too busy to, they've got probably loads of people getting in touch with them. And then within, I think it was about 7 hours later, Sam, the CEO of the charity, got back in touch and said, "Hello, how can I help you?" And I said, "Well, this is my background. I do a lot for the community. We find ourselves in a position where we've got our little lad now that has got Poland Syndrome. He's left side affected. And we want to help and we want to do everything we can for William in the future and for people around us, so he has got equality in life when it comes to everybody knowing what's going on. Because you can look at William and you can physically see that he's different in some way because of his left side affected, his arm. So we just wanted him to, because we're advocates of equality, we wanted him to have an equal right and equal life, So that's how it all started at the beginning. So then Sam asked me, "Do you want to volunteer for anything?" And I said, "Yeah, I don't mind volunteering." And so that's where the journey started. So I started creating events in the local area and joining events. Like last year, we had Earth Day. What we're going to be doing again this year in Birmingham. We also had picnic in the park, and at these events, we started getting other people with Poland Syndrome coming along and meeting up, children and families meeting up in the local area. And I was amazed that many people with Poland Syndrome, I've never met somebody else with Poland Syndrome. And the interaction that they had, especially with the mums with children, it absolutely overwhelmed me and made me a bit emotional, to be honest. So then I spoke to Sam. It was about this time last year. It was about actually middle of March. We had a lot of snow, and Sam was visiting the local MP in Birmingham. What I arranged a date with her, and that's when I brought up the idea of getting everybody together in a big way. And it was just a passing thought to Sam, and then Sam said, "Yeah, well, we'll have a think about this and see what you can think. And that's where the idea of PS Fest came in. Is that okay? Is that enough about me, or do
No, that's perfect. I mean, before we go into Poland Syndrome Festival, firstly, I also just want to say, isn't it incredible how, all these big things start off as small ideas, like you're saying, that you just pass off in, a conversation or a comment, and they end up actually materializing into something that could change a lot of people's lives. And I think that's so incredible. But I want to, before we talk about the festival, we've had a lot of moms here and a lot of female experiences of parents, when it came to having their children diagnosed with Poland syndrome. As a dad, how is that experience for you,
well,
having young William diagnosed?
well, firstly, when William was born, he was born very fast. He was a 20-minute pregnancy. So I think my wife holds the record of giving birth to a baby there. Because so when he was born, we did not realise there was nothing wrong with him because he was our perfect baby, and he still is our perfect baby. It was just that so about 30 minutes in, while we was hugging him, the midwife said, "Oh, and we've noticed that there's something wrong with his left side." And straight away, because of my personal centered background, I said, no, there's nothing wrong with his left side. I don't use my left hand. So he'll be okay in life. He will adapt in a way where he's got to move forward. So that straight away showed me that, in a way, the medical model fringed upon his early existence. So I wanted to as a dad, as untogether and all this stuff, when it comes to back into the, oh, your dad, you've got to do this thing. I got really protective, and I thought, we've got to make a change here. We've got to, and I'm a kind of person that I'm a doer. So if I say I want to do something, I will go and do it. And so we brought William home to meet his little sister. At the time, she was 4 years old. And we started just to bring him in and talk about the differences, what are that we've all got. I've got different colour eyes. I've got no hair. This, that, and the other. I wear glasses, and then we implemented in the hand and the arm, and and my daughter calls it his magic hand, because he's going to do a lot of things with this that magic hand, because she's 6 and she says, "Look at him. He's holding this, that. He's doing this. He's holding it against his chest." So yeah. So as a dad, when it comes to, I'm just there to be there all through his life, the path of life, because he wasn't asked to be born, and he wasn't especially asked to be born with Poland syndrome. So I'm going to be there to do whatever I can when it
Mhm.
comes to my little boy William, and any other child or adult when it comes to it. You know.
Yeah, yeah. And, when I hear about my parents' experience because I was also diagnosed as a baby, which is quite frankly very rare for Poland syndrome if you're diagnosed at all. But, the first thing that they were kind of worried about was, is this going to affect my child negatively in terms of, are there going to be complications going forward? And once the doctor reassured them that no, 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 like your child she'll be fine, kind of thing, then they were like, oh, okay, great, then we move on. So did you and your wife have any concerns that there were going to be complications going forward with William, or,
Wow,
was it?
they give us a long list of things that was wrong with him on that first in the first hour of him being born. So we had a long list. His legs are too short. He's gone here. He's got this. He's got that. And by during that day or the next 2 days, we had to go and do that many tests with William. And it turned out that it was just his left side. So all
Mhm.
this negativity, what absolutely scared me and my wife to eye heavens, because we're thinking about this child that's been given birth, and that we're just thinking about him. It's the world's soul he is. So, but then to come out at the other end and to see William as he is now, we are fearing the future, because the impact that it's going to have on him, because he can't use his left hand side like everybody else. But that's why we're trying to adapt life so it helps William. So yeah, it was
Mhm.
a very negative start, but that's due to the medical model. When it comes to, oh, this, and it's not the social model where we look at it and say, yeah, he's part of society. This person is part of this, and this person's part of that, and that's what
Mhm.
that's where our aim is. Me and my wife together. We just want to bring him up in the best possible way, so that he lives his life to the best. And what was really good about the charity is that we started seeing videos of people like Mac and Ron. They're in the 70s, if they don't mind me saying that, and they've got their one side affected, and they were showing us how to tie laces up, this, that, the other. And then we started meeting them over Zoom and speaking to them and trying out their experiences. And then, as I say, when we met up with younger children, we could see these younger children playing football. One of them was, I think, he's right side effective. He's a goalkeeper for his local club, and so all these fears and this and another was going away because it's the way that we handle it as a community, and how we bring the individuals together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, and kind of irrelevant but relevant. I was playing golf yesterday with some friends of ours, and my one friend was telling me about how he was born with his leg is 2.5 centimeters shorter than the other. And it's one of those things where if he never mentioned it, I wouldn't have noticed it. And then I started telling him about my Poland syndrome, and he was like, wow, crazy, okay. And it just got me thinking that, there's so many, like, everyone's got something, right?
Yeah,
Everyone's got something. And I just think, like you were saying, it's amazing for us to have a community where we can see all of these people, find safety and support in a place where they can relate to one another, but also showing other people that you can still do incredible things despite of, and I just think it's so incredible that people are achieving these things, already pushing the boundaries. And in a way, it makes it sweeter,
yeah,
that you can
yeah,
go and do something that, quote unquote, an able-bodied person can do, or, a typical person can do, and you can do it just as well as them, if not better in some
yeah,
cases. And I think that, when I went to see Sam for the first time, we did that park run walk, and seeing that community of young kids, growing up around people with I never had that growing up. I had never met anyone with Poland syndrome before I got into contact with PIP. And seeing, there was this one girl that was there. I think she must have been about 9 or 10, and she is just spitting facts about Poland syndrome. And I'm like, this is incredible. She's telling me things
yeah,
about Poland syndrome that I didn't know, let alone know at that age. And so, kind of going into the PIP festival now, and we'll touch on that. It's just incredible to have that community for, older people, yes, but especially for the younger generation coming through, so that they grow up knowing this is normal, this is great, this is amazing, and I get to be a part of this incredible community. And I think that's incredible. And I'm really excited to hear more about the PIP Festival. It's obviously coming up in a month's time. So can you
yeah,
share some of the highlights of what, attendees can expect from this year's event? I know there's a long list of really fun things that we can look forward to. So let's
yeah.
get into that.
So, as I say, it was last year March when the idea sprouted into our heads, and so I work closely with the Dorothy Park Centre, and that's in Smethwick. That's just on the bridge of Birmingham and Sandwell, and they fantastically said you can have our venue for the day. You take it over, you do whatever you need to do. So, firstly, I need to praise Dorothy Park and the staff there, Jodie and Ron. So then they said, "What do you want to do?" And I said, "Well, we want to have a stage, we want to have stalls, we want to be able to have a bouncy castle, this, that, the other." So every area of society, from 0 to 100, are all catered for, from 2 o'clock till 6 o'clock. So that's the first section. So in this festival, there's going to be a PIP stall, of course, where we're going to be offering membership, we're going to be offering merchandise, and we're going to be showcasing what's coming up in the future in all regions, in the Midlands region, in the Scotland region, and our future plans. During the day, we're going to be having special speakers like yourself as one of our ambassadors and another ambassador. You're also going to be talking about the app, aren't you? And about your fitness and stuff like that. We're also going to be having special appearances from local vocalists, so they're going to be singing for us. We're going to be bringing back the fashion show that happened last month in Birmingham,
which was huge.
which was absolutely amazing. And some of the young ladies are going to come, but we're going to have it with a difference. We're going to have the young ladies, and we're going to have children with them. So we're going to be asking the children what's coming along. We're not cool. They are superstars. All the people that are coming along are superstars. Everyone's going to have a badge with superstar. So if you've got Poland syndrome, it's your day because you're that superstar. So everything on that day is absolutely free. If you're coming along with them, you've got to pay, sadly, because you're not a superstar. Okay, but so we're going to get the young children, and they're going to walk alongside the models. So we're going to have a little fashion show with so it's a mixture. Also, we're going to be introducing the youth program that we've got, the youth ambassadors. So we're going to be bringing in, and we're going to be signing up young people that are going to take the charity forward. That's going to be representing it. Like you said earlier, it's amazing how these young children are talking about it already and are expressing what they've got. When I was younger, I was really concerned about wearing glasses. I was really, but now you've got people what's got living difference, and they're open and they're just out there. So that's that bit of the. We've also got axe throwing. We've got people.
That's cool.
You've got an axe and you can throw it against the board outside.
I've always wanted to do that.
So you're going to be doing that. We've got a boxing company coming along. Birmingham project. What they've said they're going to come along. They're going to put a gazebo up so you can. They're going to train the children and the adults during the day. We've got a bouncy castle. We've also got our fantastic Mac is arranging a variety show, like a show where anybody can come along, and at the last hour or for 40 minutes on the stage, they're going to be putting their acts on. So it's going to be Poland syndrome, representing Poland syndrome. It could be singing, it could be dancing, it could be telling jokes, whatever they want to do. Okay, so that is just, and then we've got 9 other stalls there. So we've got pottery going on, we've got embroidery, we've got people coming along from physiotherapy to talk about it. We've also, in the festival, we've got a special room that if anybody wants to go and talk privately with anybody else, they can go in there, because we all realise that mental health is a massive, massive impact when it comes to Poland syndrome. And people, when they're getting together, some might be overwhelmed. So we've got a little area so they can go to. Okay, we've also got food for the superstars. They can just eat and drink whatever they want. And then we've got afternoon tea, and it's all in different sections. Okay, so and it's just, we've catered it for the day. So that's 2 till 6, all that's happening, and much, much more. Okay, then for an hour, we're going to be asking people to go to the local pub over the road to have a drink while we set up for the fantastic evening with a comedian and a DJ. And there's going to be a buffet spread. So there's going to be catered for the evening. So that's day 1 of the festival. How does that sound for day 1?
That sounds...
That's only a snippet, because each day... Jam-packed. So the next day, we've got the valley. We've got a forest where we're going to be doing activities. We're going to be doing yoga. We're going to be... we've got other people coming in to do tree rubbing and all that stuff. And we've also, to start that off, we've got the walk or the run to get to that forest. So it's going to be a little bit there. So that's where you come in. That's where you're going to be doing your little jog or walk, and anybody. It's all inclusive. Anybody's welcome. If you haven't got Poland syndrome, please come along. If you haven't got Poland syndrome, please come along, because it's for you. You know, because what I noticed, as I say, with these different events is that, well, I want people to come together. And when I became chair, that was my direction in my mind. Let's bring people together. Let's make Poland syndrome a recognised, because you say to people Poland syndrome, they say, what's that? I want people to say Poland syndrome. You say, oh yeah, I know that. I've seen it on the internet. I've seen you at a festival, the first ever one. So just to bring just the awareness. of the event and whatnot.
Yeah. And you know what I love about everything that you've mentioned? Two things. I love the amount of thought that's gone into it. You
Yeah,
know, I think having a place for people to go and sit down and speak if they feel overwhelmed, or if
yeah,
they just feel like they just need to get something off their chest or they need someone to speak to.
yeah,
I absolutely love that. And I think that's so, so important, because as much as we're trying to celebrate, you know, Poland syndrome in the community and everything that people can do, I think at the same time, we must still leave space, you know, for the fact that people are going to struggle through it. You know, people are
yeah,
struggling through
yeah.
normal life with normal problems,
Mhm.
you know, and even then therapy or talking to a friend or a family member or a trusted, you know, person is encouraged. But now to add that layer of, you know, yes, we're celebrating all that we are and we're celebrating our differences and what makes us unique, but we can't forget that there are going to be moments and there are going to be times where people, you know, it might get to people and it might affect them,
Exactly,
and they
exactly.
need that space to speak about it. So I mean, I'm incredibly passionate about psychology. It's what I studied. It's kind of what I went into, and so especially child psychology. So hearing that, I love that. But what I also love is, you know, you guys are really trying to go into this, like I said, celebrating everything. You know, with the fashion show, it's celebrating that people are beautiful and they're unique and they're the superstars. With
Yeah,
the fitness or the axe throwing or the comedians or the singing, like just, you know, getting a variety of activities together to tell people it doesn't matter what you want to do, you can do
yeah,
anything,
yeah. But
anything,
but
anything.
but to round it all off, on the afternoon after we've gone to the valley, the local cinema has said we can have a special showing for 255 people. Oh, it's 101 Dalmatians. They're bringing in their directors, and everything that's made on that day goes back to the charity. But that's to shut the festival down. That's going to be after we've been to the forest, had a little picnic. We're going to go there, and that's going to shut it down. We're going to have a couple of hours watching a film, and it's going to be just all together inclusive, where we just say that's it. We can have a rest now. 2 days of hecticness and 2 days of non-stop fun and everything else, and it's going to hopefully work out. Hopefully the rain stays away as well for that Sunday. Hopefully, but we're going to get gazebos so everyone's going to be sheltered. Hopefully, so yeah. But the amount of people that have give their time and effort, everybody I've spoke to, even in businesses, we're getting a digital camera for the day, like one of them pods, where we can take pictures throughout the day. Somebody has said they're going to come along and make short videos for us, and everybody that I've asked, they've all done it, and they've all done it for nothing and nothing at all, because they've said, Paul, we can see what you're doing. You've helped us in the past. Let's bring all this together. So, and the team that we've got in our festival committee with Mac, Shirley, Sam, Rachel, what an amazing group of people, because I would not have been able to do what we've created without the Poland Syndrome network that we've got, because the ideas that they come across, I think it was Adrian, one of our volunteers, he said on the day we should have handprints on a board of different people, just to, because we wanted it on the 30th of April, but no one could do that because that's a Tuesday, because that's Poland Syndrome Day. So we've got the festival the closest that we can to that day, so we can celebrate. And on that day, we're going to go around and we're going to get recordings of everybody once they've turned up, so we can fill on Poland Syndrome Day the social media with messages of it's Poland Syndrome Day. This is what we represent. Okay, and that's one thing I'm going to ask you to do as well, but I'm going to ask you that after the podcast about the festival. But no one gets away from me without saying stuff about the festival, and then I'll put it on social media.
I love it. No, you know, and yeah, everything that you've said is just unbelievable. It's incredible. I'm so excited to be a part of that and to, you know, see the kind of impact it'll make afterwards and kind of see where PIP and the PIP Fest will be next year.
Yes,
Before
yes.
we go into, you know, what your goals are in terms of what impact you want to make on a personal level, how does it feel to, you know, be the person who almost like spearheaded this and to have this idea and see it come to life with all the incredible people that you get to work with, and especially having a son that's in the community. How does it feel as a dad to kind of pave the way for that?
Well, when it comes to everything, the reason that it's happening is because William was born. Because, as I say, I did not know anything about Poland syndrome 19 months ago. I did not know. I thought the first thing I said was, Poland that's the country, isn't it? Like everybody says, because everybody knows if it's a syndrome, it's connected to the doctor. But so that's why that's happening, because of William. But the reason the festival's happening is because the amount of people that I've met in a short period of time, the amount of amazing people and caring people in this community, and what I've met individually, I wanted to bring them together. I was just being selfish. I thought, what would it be like to bring everybody together for a couple of days? And then because Sam, she just looks at me and she thinks, okay, is going off on, because I've said to Sam from the beginning, if I get an idea, please stop me, because if I run with it, it's going to happen. so that's what happened. So she didn't stop me on this time, or at least. So yeah, it's just because of the people that I've met, and I just wanted. It was Ron and Mac when they said they'd never met anybody for 70 years with Poland syndrome. Now that it occurred with me, because I'm thinking, hang on a minute, where was that support for them for 70 years? And there's got to be other individuals with Poland syndrome that's never met anybody and has never had this support from anybody, So it was that's why I'm doing it. And it's not just me doing it. I don't want to take all the credit, because it's PIP, it's Poland syndrome that's doing. I'm the one that's spearheading it, pushing it. But there's a group of people behind the scenes, and they're all amazing, absolutely amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not going to take no credit. I'm just going to run with it. And if everything falls apart, I'm going to say it wasn't my fault.
Wasn't my idea. Who did this?
It was Sam last March. So Sam,
yeah. Sam, I remember you came up with this idea.
It was snowing, and you said something about a festival.
I remember the snow. No, honestly, seeing the talent, the fashion show that's been happening, the two fashion shows that they've just done. Firstly, seeing that come to life. Secondly, seeing all the ambassadors and everyone who took part and how excited they were, how proud they were of themselves being up there and of everything, kind of being, they were the stars. Like you're saying, I can't tell you the change that I've seen just in everyone being involved and how everyone really was truly proud to be a part of the event and to have Poland syndrome, because it was just done in such a way. I think sometimes charities and, each to their own, and I think everything has a place, but I think, what PIP does really well, or at least something I really like, is that it really is a celebration. And it really is, there's a time and a place. Here is educate. These are some serious concerns. These are some serious issues, especially when it comes to kind of the medicinal side of it. But there's also a lot to celebrate. It doesn't have to be doom and gloom all the time. And that's what the feeling I got from the fashion show. And that's also what I'm really looking forward to. And the feeling I get with the festival as well, is that there is a time and a place and a space for everyone to speak about things and educate and et cetera, et cetera. But there's no reason why this can't be fun. No reason why.
And one thing I forgot about the festival is that we've got a little mascot coming along as well, for a little disco for the young children at 4:00. That's because there's that much things going on. And when it comes to it, though, PIP-UK, and it's going to be international very soon, is a family charity. Now, I would not have been involved this much if it wasn't family, because that's how Sam's built this. She's formed it into a model where we're all part of a family. It's not about we've got to do this. It's our ideas are coming together, and that's how it forms. It's like branches of a tree.
100%. And I think exactly what you were saying. I think Sam really has created that, and I think that speaks volumes to who Sam is
as
a person. And I think that shows definitely. So, obviously this festival is going to be really fun, and it's going to have, it's going to help a lot of people in so many different ways. But what kind of impact are you guys hoping it has, past the festival? And how do you want this to be an important event for the Poland syndrome community and the broader public, like you were saying, people who don't have Poland syndrome?
So firstly, it's the first. So that means there's going to be more. If it's the first, it's going to go on. So every year we're going to be building a festival wherever we can, because over the next 12 months, we're opening different branches. Okay, so we're starting with England. We've already opened Birmingham and Scotland branch, and then we're going to go across the rest of England. The next year, we're going international early next year. So that'll be America, it'll be Australia, Africa, places like that. So we've got to get people connected. So this isn't the start of something. This is just a continuation of what Sam built, and this is just going to be going in a different direction where we bring everybody together in branches. So they're going to be virtual branches where we all get together. We're going to give everybody the same equipment so we can get that passion away, get that across. So then, if you're in Scotland, just say, and you've never heard of Poland syndrome, you can type in, and there's a Poland syndrome branch. Birmingham, we've got a branch, and then it'll be in London at the end of the year. So we're going to develop it. So wherever you are in the country, there's a branchway for you to get to the charity. So to get to that mothership. So we can still build and build and build. So it's just the beginning. It's just the beginning, but it's exciting as well. Like I said at the beginning, when Sam asked me to become a trustee, and then I was voted in as chairperson. One of the things that I said as chair is that firstly I'm a doer and I'm a leader when it comes to that stuff, but I wanted to take in a direction where we're a community together, like a massive family. So we go in and out, and we get the volunteers working, and so that's the plan. That's the plan going forward, and have clinics across the UK and across the world where it comes to recognising Poland syndrome. So
and I think what would actually be really cool as well to maybe see in the future is, you obviously have like your park runs every Saturday, and it's an every week thing. Maybe even having something, where every Saturday people who are part of the Poland syndrome community globally just do a park run, whether they walk or run or whatever. It's just, emphasizing that family, that community, that that family.
Well, in our branch at the moment, the Birmingham branch, we've already got together with 12 other charities, and we're going to be doing an equality walk, where it's called the Wheel and Walk, and that's going to be in Cannonell Park, and that's going to be in June. PIP's been invited to that this year for the first time, because it's normally just 10, but they've invited a couple more charities, and we're one of them. So we're expanding that way as well. So there's going to be activities throughout the year. As I say earlier in the podcast, we've got Dorothy Parks. They've been so fantastic. Every time they do a activity day, a stall day, where they invite us to go along. We've also got Earth Day coming up, April the 20th, a week before the festival, where we're going to be out there grabbing nature and talking about Poland syndrome. Yeah, so it's just all positive. The future is positive when it comes to the charity.
And I think what would be a great milestone, or when this does happen in the future, I think a lot of people, their efforts will be recognized, is when, in the future, someone gets diagnosed with Poland syndrome and they get diagnosed by a doctor who doesn't have to go and Google it.
Exactly.
Or they don't have to Google it themselves. It'll just be a thing that everyone, at least in the medicinal field, knows about. Because I have noticed that is something that isn't happening right now. I mean, it's fair to maybe assume we won't know about it if it's never really popped up in our lives, but for doctors to not know about it, that's a problem.
Well, the strain that he put on me and my wife when we didn't know what was happening, the thoughts that was going through our heads was absolutely, it was terrifying until we found the charity, and then we was asking questions and answers was coming back to us. Doctors couldn't give us these answers, but PIP-UK could, and you're thinking, what's going on here? And so all that strain and stress that we went through, in that initial short amount of time, hopefully, like you say, that gets deleted, and no parent what's born with a child what's left side or right side affected has to go through that pain, So, but
Yeah.
as I said, I'm just here because of my little boy, And so William is just going to be the shining star for me. He's already my superstar. He's already my superhero of what he does. And everybody that I've met in the Poland Syndrome Society, you don't have to wear a cape to be a superhero, because every one of these people that I've met are superheroes. And I'll tell you, some of them are very funny. Funny. Mac, for example, every time he comes out with something, I'm in stitches because he should be on stage.
Maybe at the festival.
Well, he's the one who's doing the variety show. He's the one who's doing the variety show.
Perfect.
Yeah.
No, it's incredible. And like you were saying, I think everyone in the community has not only been so welcoming and accepting of, everyone joining the community, but they themselves have just shown such amazing feats of humanity, whether that's courage or strength or humor or love or acceptance, everything. I think it really is an amazing group of people. And again, I think that just speaks volumes of, the people who are like Sam, like yourself, everyone who's volunteering and really helping out. So really excited to come down or up to
up and
England.
over. Yeah.
Up and over to Birmingham and to meet you and everyone else and really, take a part of this event. So I feel very grateful and very privileged that I can be a part of this. So I'm excited to go up and over there. But as we end off this, episode, what message would you like to share with our listeners about Poland Syndrome and how they can maybe support PIP's efforts, going forward?
Well, when it comes to the listeners, firstly, I'm going to say to them, you're doing a fantastic job. This is a thing that you was not asked to be born with, and you're living your life with Poland Syndrome. Embrace it, because everybody I've met are, as I say, absolutely fantastic. What I want my part to be, because as I say, I've not got Poland Syndrome myself, is that when it comes to the charity, and what we're trying to do is bring people with Poland Syndrome in to run the board, to be the chair. So when it finishes for me in 3 years' time, hopefully there's going to be somebody there that is with Poland Syndrome. We're bringing younger members into the board now, and the things that we've got planned for them and that I've got planned is absolutely so exciting. So my message to people out there what's listening to this podcast is, thank you for being part of this family, and thank you for inviting me into this family, because if it wasn't for William, I would not be part of anything to do with Poland Syndrome, because I would not have known about you. So because of William, I am, and you've got to put up with me, I'm afraid.
I love it. Well, thank you so much for coming on and sharing everything, Paul. It was actually really great to hear about your story as well. And that's something I really enjoyed about doing these podcasts and about this community, is really hearing people's stories and, hearing how everyone ultimately has the same goal at the end of it. So I'm really excited to, like I said, meet you guys at the PIP Fest. For people who are listening and don't know about the PIP Fest, just make sure to go onto PIP-UK's social media channels. They have been posting about it. It will be amazing to have you guys come through, check it out. If you're a superstar, you can also get free food, which is always great.
Yeah, all weekends, it's a free event for a superstar.
So really, really excited for that. So Paul, thank you so much. And I'm really excited to see also what we, can do together in the future. And let's just keep this growing. I love it. Thank you so much.
No, thank you for inviting me on the podcast today.
Perfect. Thanks. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to follow us and subscribe to our podcast, and follow us on our social media platforms, Instagram and Facebook. See you soon.